Hello everybody, welcome back to wolfeei. Today we have an interesting thing on our hands. Sorry, I'm dealing with how to handle music on this setup. It's weird, okay? YouTube audio balancing is hard. Anyways, today somebody made a Reddit post called "What if MCC was an elimination tournament season 2?" And obviously from the whole idea in general, you can kind of imply what this might mean. But just in case, I wanted to check, hey, what does this actually mean? And the explanation is as follows. What would happen if the team that gets last in each game gets eliminated from MCC? So you play the 8 games, but during every game, the last place team gets removed. You might be like, well, isn't that not going to have any impact? Hypothetically speaking, right? If red team gets last in game 1, but then gets first in game 2, they're no longer able to get first in game 2 because they get eliminated in game 1. That's kind of the logic behind it. So yeah, the explanation is we're going through each of the 8 games, eliminating the teams that's in last, that's not already eliminated, and theorize who would win dodgeball from the remaining 2 teams if it's not the same as what actually happened. Also, just eliminate wild speculation for would be completely pointless, blah, 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 this is just for fun, or we'll have each team continue playing as they did in Canada, but they're just not be in contention to win if they're eliminated. Oh, okay, cool. The way I'm gonna... So I didn't read this part. This is my bad. This is what happens when I'm looking for video ideas and I have to come up with something. Which, this is interesting, by the way, I just wanted to say. I'm gonna look at this for the MCC I played in. MCC Twitch Rivals EU. What happens if after every game the last place team gets eliminated? Now you might be wondering, Wolfie, how does that even work? Isn't there 6 games and 10 teams? Yes, I forgot about that. But we'll figure it out, okay? We'll figure it out. Maybe we eliminate 2 people in Buildmart and 2 people in or 2 teams in Buildmart and 2 teams in Railroad Rush to balance things out a little bit more properly. Alright, anyways, to approach how this event goes. It's kind of interesting. Whatever team ends up surviving and doing okay in the last game is just who's going to get the dodgeball, which I think could still end up being the same result. I don't remember how good Purple did in the first game. However, let's start over here. So, actually, I should probably... Hold on, 1 second. Okay, never mind. I can't pause on this. I should have right box open. Right box. Right box. And then I can take notes. Sorry, it's scuffed. So game 1, the last place team is Aqua. So game 1, we lose Aqua. Aqua. Game 2. So yeah, so how this works, right, is SG game 1 was last place team was Aqua team because they encountered Curryway and he kind of curb stomped the entire team solo. And then, you know, first place team doesn't really matter. We don't look at the coins in this situation. We just look at what happens if you just eliminate whatever team is last. So Aqua team is out of the equation at this point. Then if we move on to Rocket Spleef, the bottom team is blue. So these are actually different. There's actually different teams that are going to be eliminated here, because I didn't even think about this. This is interesting. We now have no dodgeable contenders have been eliminated just yet, but we have to wait and see if purple and or green end up being at the bottom. I do recall green not doing super hot in Built Mart, which is correct. Wow, 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 wow. So yellow and green are out of the equation at this point. That's crazy. So you lose yellow and you lose green. So this is interesting because if I remember correctly, yellow team ended up winning Railroad Rush. So that's no longer a factor to take into consideration. They're no longer in contention despite winning the last game, you know, in the previous attempt, which I think is very interesting. This would be a very... the thing is, in terms of how realistic this idea is, of course, one thing that's very flawed with this system is elimination-based gameplay. This is something you notice in Twitch Rivals, where someone could hypothetically end up only playing for like 30 minutes, and then they just no longer get to play. Obviously, this would never happen in this situation, but it is interesting to kind of have this as like a maybe like a MCC scuffed like additive modifier where it's like, oh, actually, so not only is the top 2 teams in dodgeball contention, we also said if you got last in one of the games, now the remaining teams also get to dodgeball. If there's overlap, then hey, give them some bonus or do nothing or whatever. But I think that'd be interesting, or maybe you just do like the second and third or whatever like ends up happening. Right? I think that could be an interesting factor per chance. I think my team ended up winning, hold also Richland, but red team got last. That's another. Hey, half the roster is already gone. I'm just saying, man, half the roster is already gone. This is proven to be pretty interesting. It's been completely unique bottom teams. Even in the game where we decided, hey, let's remove the bottom 2, still completely unique. Pink Parrots is hanging on by a thread. Respectfully, of course. Ace Race. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Wait. This is interesting. Now, this is where this hypothetical becomes very interesting, right? Because in Ace Race, the last place team was red, but red is already eliminated. So then you move on to blue, but blue's already been eliminated. So then you move on to purple, which now means the dodge bolt would be different. This would be a different dodge bolt at this current moment. The contenders now are orange, cyan, and lime, and pink. That's kind of awesome. That's kind of cool, no? This, like, obviously one of them is the same in this hypothetical, but now suddenly 3 teams that didn't make it to Dodgebolt have a chance at being the remaining team for Dodgebolt. I don't know which teams end up doing the best, because I do think my team ends up getting second in this game. So if you look at the bottom, pink gets eliminated and lime gets eliminated, which means that it's cyan versus orange at this point. Interesting, dude. No, dude, I kind of like this. Obviously, this is more a fun hypothetical in retrospect type of situation where you get a very different result. Also, it's a very extreme thing, right? The pressure is on the further you get through these games, because getting last in you have 9 other teams to worry about in SG. When you get to like Ace Race, there's only like 4 other teams you have to worry about. When you get to Railroad Rush, it's a 50-50. You better get top 2 or else you're cooked, alright? I think this would be so sick. This would be so sick if you had a Chaos event where it didn't really matter too much and you hide the Game 8 scores, similar to how they're hidden in Block Wars, right? Game 8 scores are not shown. You suddenly have such an insane level of, like, mystery to how well, like, or to who actually makes it to the finale, additionally, compared to the other teams. I think that would be so sick. So, no, this would be super cool. In this instance, if we're saying, okay, take the approach of MCC Scuffed, and instead of just doing 2 teams in Dodgebolt, do 4. Obviously now we would be left with 3 teams, because the remaining teams are cyan and orange, and cyan also gets top 2 overall. So now you have to think about which team would make it besides the third one, right? Or alongside the third one. Orange here squeezing in because of this extra modifier, but then how should this be factored in terms of which other team makes it to Dodgebolt? Because I think that's interesting, right? Having orange suddenly go from 4th place to being a Dodgebolt team is interesting, but should now green be in contention as well because they got 3rd in points? Should it be lime that's in contention because they were the 3rd remaining team in this situation? Maybe. I think that could be interesting, right? Maybe that is how you think about it, because technically, if we're taking the approach that we've got here, where every team, if they get last, gets cut off from the consideration of making it to Dodgebolt through this bonus objective, yeah, the ranking would be orange or cyan, orange, lime, and pink in Game 8. And if you're removing the bottom 2, that's cyan and orange left, but if we're just removing 1 to allow for an extra team to make it in through this extra, objective, suddenly it's lime. And that would be pretty interesting, right? Nobody would see that coming in terms of the total scores. Lime team ended up placing 9th overall, but in a scuffed instance, or maybe in whatever modified version of MCC instance, now you suddenly have a 9th place team not just get in because they got bottom 2, but because they barely hung on throughout this event. They barely made it through, alright? 5th, dodged it here in 9th. Then 7th here, dodged it not too closely here. Dodged it here as well. I think, no, because red got last here for the first time. But like they still hung on pretty well here. They hung on very well here too, and then barely hung on here. I think that's it's interesting. It's just an interesting way to think about, like, what if MCC or other Minecraft events had an elimination style tournament? Obviously, again, and just to remind everybody, in terms of a full event having this approach, it kind of just sucks. It kind of sucks if you're a team that's round 1 goes out. You're pretty much playing the remaining 2 hours of this event doing absolutely nothing because you cannot make it to the finale anymore. Unless you get top 2 in points, of course. But starting off game 1 with a last place and then still having to fight for top 2 while knowing that this extra objective is around would be a little bit rough. And even, actually, no, never mind, because top 2 doesn't matter in this hypothetical of just this. So no, you'd have to have a balance in it somehow where it's like, oh, you can get in from top 2 points, which is the usual, but then additionally, scuffed mechanic for Dodgebolt having 4 teams instead of 2. You can also get in through surviving throughout the event. Just don't get last is essentially the challenge. You don't necessarily have to get top 2 overall, just don't get last is all that matters. I think it's interesting. Let me know your thoughts on this hypothetical. Definitely a very silly idea in terms of how to approach it, and also if you want to check out the results from this person on Reddit, please check out the posts on Reddit, because they've gone over every event between MCC number 1 and I think it was MCC 19. Yeah, so they go over every year of MCC in one go, I'm pretty sure, because yeah, they did MCC 1 through 13 in season 1, and then season 2.0, which is all the MCC 14 until MCC 19. And then MCC, the other 3 years of MCC are yet to come, I assume. Anyways, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this hypothetical. Should this happen? I don't know. I think it'd be interesting. But I'll see you later. Goodbye.